in American sports. And we all argued for years, Belichick more important, Brady more important. And I think a lot of people thought Belichick 60-40 was more important. Wasn't that long ago I was here and Brady was a system quarterback. But when Brady went to Tampa and won a Super Bowl in a pandemic with no preseason, it sent a big message. Simultaneously, as Belichick couldn't make the playoffs, all right, it was 75-25 Tommy, 70-30 Tommy, 60-40 Tommy. But I also think that move empowered all quarterbacks, and it weakened all coaches. Because now Belichick can't win. Belichick can't win playoff games. The greatest coach of all time. And this offseason, think about it. Mike Zimmer, a very respected coach, and Kirk Cousins, heads butted. What happened? See ya, coach. Kirk gets an extension. Kirk Cousins. Brady and Arians. Hey, Bruce, move upstairs. Tommy gets what he wants. Russell Wilson, get me out of here. Pete Carroll didn't want him out of there. He got out of there. Two things happened in the Brady-Belichick divorce. It empowered quarterbacks. Everybody went, it really is about the quarterback. I mean, we always liked Andy Reid. Now we love Andy Reid. It's about the quarterback. But it also weakened coaches. Hell, Belichick in 8 years without Brady can't win. And when Zimmer, who's really respected, loses to Kirk Cousins, who all of us are like he shrinks in big games, that's Brady. And I think it got doubled down, although McVay's great, when Stafford came out. And you're like, man, that's why what you're seeing now in this league is when something like anytime we're in a big lucrative business and there's a massive move in a big lucrative business, you have winners and losers. The winner was obviously Brady, but the winner was the quarterback position. I mean, if Brady goes to Tampa and they stink, you're like, yeah, still a coach's league. Deshaun Watson's not getting that money. I mean, seriously. I mean, I think all of this stuff, what you're talking about, I've seen this in TV and streaming. When Netflix came out, there was a lot of winners and there were some losers. A lot of broadcast television's gone into the tank. Like nobody watches broadcast TV outside of sports and politics. Football and politics. So you have winners and losers when there's massive changes and a massive moment in big lucrative businesses. And I do think, we have a quarterback now with 22 civil cases against him. $230 million, all guaranteed. I don't think that's happened 4 years ago. I don't think that's happened 3 years ago. I think this Brady-Belichick thing I do think it's weakened coaches. Now, Sean McVay is still brilliant. But even Sean McVay knew, I got to get a new quarterback. I can't be losing in division to Kyle Shanahan. McVay was smart. He's like, he can go to Les Snead, and he's like, Les, we're going to be out at work here. That's all great and good, but I'm watching what's happening around this league. We got to get better at quarterback. That's the Brady effect. And I do think, I'm not saying coaches don't have power, but in Minnesota, Mike Zimmer, I would argue, is a more respected coach than Kirk Cousins, a quarterback. Mike got whacked. Kirk got a new extension. It's the power of Brady and Belichick split. Eric Mangini around the corner.
Well, there's not been much of a trade market for Baker Mayfield since the Browns acquired Deshaun Watson, and many of the starting quarterback spots have been filled now. But one NFL executive still sees a good landing spot for him. An anonymous exec from the NFC believes that Baker would be the best option for the Seahawks and that Pete Carroll would be able to rein in Baker's persona.
Oh, boy. He
also thinks that Baker has the potential to be named Comeback Player of the Year.
That's stupid.
Season.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Can we, I always love this when coaches think, I can change the player. These are 20.
Don't we all do that? Don't we all just find a project that we believe in?
I guess.
Yes, we have all done that. The difference is when your job is on the line, you probably shouldn't do that. Because I'm with you. Why did anyone expect Russell Westbrook to be anything other than what he is? There's so much evidence.
Stubborn, athletic, turnovers. He is exactly what he's been.
Yes.
Everybody, you're not going to change Baker. Well, this is what Pete Carroll does. No, what Pete Carroll does is lose when he doesn't have Russell Wilson. So let's stop it.
Correct. I mean, listen, if he was a really young player, and Baker is still a young player, but I mean a raw young talent
without
that
the money,
still be molded.
Yeah.
Yes, without the 5011 Progressive commercials.
No. Baker's got his $35 million in the bank, so you're not going to push Baker around at this point.
Correct.
He can go back to Oklahoma and live a hell of a life.
Correct. Now he can still play in this league, so it's not like he doesn't have a future in the NFL. But he's not going to be a franchise quarterback. We have enough evidence now to see that even when you have a plethora of talent around him, a stable coach and front office, it still doesn't work. So, yes, you're right. Stop trying to change people. We've all done it. We've all failed. Because the reality is, people only change for themselves.
I talked to a therapist years and years ago, and this woman, very smart woman, she said, we're all what we are at 9 years old. Just we have hair now and mustaches. And she said, we're all an older version of our 9-year-old self. And we are. I'm somebody surrounded by 6 kids. At 3 and 4 years old, they're exactly what we all knew they would be. They become taller,
right, heavier,
smarter versions of what they were at 4 years old. You're not going to change. Baker's had a chip on his shoulder forever. It's why he's in the league. But this idea that you're going to, we're going to bring him down and we're going to fasten, certain limitations on. Just like the dude's made his money.
There's so many examples of that failing. I do think that people, they're not going to change their personalities, but I do think that people can grow. I think people can adjust.
Yes.
But they're not going to do it for you. They do it for themselves. That's the only way it works. Well, you can beg someone to do something. You can incentivize someone to do something. Well, unless they want to do it, it's not going to happen.
One of the only times people change, truthfully, when they get old and rich, is if there's a health scare. Like, stop smoking or you'll die.
Right.
People will do it. Stop drinking or you'll die.
But who are they doing it for?
Themselves. They want to live.
Die.
Right.
Right. So it's just a silly concept. And as far as him being the best option for the Seahawks, I don't believe that. I think they should draft someone. If you're going to go with Baker Mayfield, why wouldn't you just draft a quarterback that you can actually mold and build up and build around?
And don't have to pay anything to.
I
think they think Drew Lock is that. He's not.
Baker, the Broncos didn't even think that he was that. That's why they brought in Teddy Bridgewater.
Well, think about this. Think about how good the offensive pieces are for Denver. So good that Teddy Bridgewater completed like 66% of his throws. Teddy did. Drew Lock completed 59% of his throws. And now you're going to Seattle with a worse O-line, with worse receivers, with a worse running back room. It's like, and by the way, a coach that drove Russell Wilson crazy because of sort of a Jurassic offensive approach.
No. So. Well, the Dolphins added one of the most dangerous weapons in the league in Tyreek Hill last week, and although he's known for his offensive talents, he's also made an impact as a punt returner, and he made it clear to Chris Grier, the GM in Miami, that he wants to be involved in the return game. Grier said, Tyreek, the first thing he said was, I want to make sure I'm back there getting a couple of returns every game. We're fortunate with him, Javon Hollins, Jalen Waddle. We have guys that can do that. They're all big contributors on their side of the ball as well, and we have a couple of other guys that can return. So we're not really worried about the return game.
No, they'll have the best return game. Waddle's great. I mean, they have the fastest receiving core in the league. Doesn't mean it's the best.
Oh, no, they have a track meet.
Yeah,
yes.
So they're going to have the best punt return team in the league if they can block a little.
Well, during Hill's rookie year in 2016, he returned 39 points, 14 kickoffs, and scored 3 touchdowns. Now, that was 2016. Most recently, he returned 1 punt per year in 2019 and 2020 and didn't field any in the 2021 season. But that's exciting that he wants to do that. Now, I know fans are probably going to be like, why would you put him back there? Like, it's an injury situation. But when you have a talent as fast as Tyreek Hill, and Dolphins special teams unit is good.
Yeah, so, by the way, I don't play fantasy football, but when I read that story, I think, man, Deebo Samuel and Tyreek Hill, I would draft those guys.
Well, interestingly enough, Mike McDaniel coached Deebo Samuel.
That's right.
And he wants to use Tyreek Hill in a Deebo Samuel type of role.
Yeah.
So be creative with it. That's what they hired him for.
That's right.
I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win. I'm not going to lie. I had a lot of anxiety last night. I know it was a tall scale for Costa Rica to move the U.S.
Oh, when it went down 2-0.
I got a little nervous. I
did too.
I'm like, I know it's still a couple goals
This
away.
is not Argentina. I've seen us. We can struggle in really key spots. We're not Germany.
Yeah.
We're not,
I didn't feel good about it. But the U.S. men's national team has officially clinched their spot at the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar, so we can all take a deep breath. They will be there despite a 2-0 loss to Costa Rica last night. They were able to secure one of CONCACAF's 3 automatic World Cup berths, along with Canada and Mexico. They finished the 14-game qualification cycle with a 7-4-3 record. They left them tied for third with